Before I sign, Your Honor, I'd like to submit one piece of evidence. The courtroom went silent. My wife, Vanessa, was already smiling. That victorious smirk she'd been wearing for the past 9 months since she filed for divorce. Her lawyer, a $400 an hour shark named Damian Price, had his hand extended, waiting for me to sign the final document that would end our 16-year marriage. The document that would give her the house, the cars, the savings, full custody of our 3 children, and $4,100 a month in child support for 17 years. Do the math. That's more than $836,000. I was supposed to sign. I was supposed to accept defeat. I was supposed to walk out of that courthouse as a broken man who had lost everything. That's what they expected. That's not what happened. Evidence? Judge Harrison Cole leaned forward, his gray eyebrows rising. Mr. Calloway, you've had months to submit evidence. This hearing is for final signatures only. I understand, Your Honor, but this evidence only came into my possession 48 hours ago, and I believe the court needs to see it before any documents are signed. Vanessa's smirk flickered just slightly, a crack in the mask. This is ridiculous, Damian Price said smoothly. Your Honor, my client has been more than patient. Mr. Calloway agreed to these terms. He can't simply... I can if the terms were based on fraud. That word landed like a bomb. Fraud. Vanessa's face went from confident to confused, to something close to fear in the span of 3 seconds. What are you talking about? She demanded. What fraud? I didn't answer her. Instead, I reached into my jacket and pulled out a manila envelope. Brown. Unremarkable. The kind you can buy at any office supply store. Inside was the truth. I walked toward the judge's bench, my footsteps echoing in the silent courtroom. My own lawyer, a tired legal aid attorney named Adrian Vega, who had advised me to just sign and move on with my life, was staring at me with his mouth open. I hadn't told him about this. I hadn't told anyone. Some secrets you keep until exactly the right moment. Your Honor, I said, this envelope contains DNA test results for all 3 of my children. Mason, age 13, Claire, age 10, and Noah, age 7. DNA tests? Judge Cole took the envelope carefully. For what purpose? To establish paternity, Your Honor. The silence that followed was so complete, I could hear Vanessa's breath catch in her throat. Paternity? Her voice was barely a whisper. What? What are you... I'm establishing, I said, that I am not the biological father of any of the 3 children you want me to pay child support for. The judge opened the envelope, read the first page, the second, the third. His face changed, hardened. He looked at Vanessa with an expression I can only describe as controlled disgust. Then he said 3 words that destroyed her. Is this true? 24 hours earlier, I was sitting in a diner just off Interstate 5, staring at the same documents the judge was now reading. The coffee in front of me had gone cold. The eggs I'd ordered sat untouched. Nothing seemed real anymore. 3 children, 16 years of marriage, my entire adult life. A lie. The private investigator sitting across from me was Russell Kane. 61 years old, face like weathered leather, eyes that had seen too much. I'm sorry, he said. I know this isn't what you were hoping to find. I wasn't hoping to find anything, I said. I was hoping you'd tell me I was paranoid, that the rumors were wrong, that my wife wasn't... I couldn't finish the sentence. The DNA tests are conclusive, Mr. Calloway. Mason, Claire, and Noah, none of them share your genetic markers. 0% probability of paternity across all 3. I looked at the documents again. Charts and graphs and scientific language that boiled down to one simple truth. The children I had raised, loved, and sacrificed for were not mine. Do you know who the fathers are? I asked. Russell reached into his briefcase and pulled out another folder. Fathers. Plural, he said quietly. Based on my investigation and a cross-reference of likely genetic matches, Mason appears to be the biological child of Travis Bennett, a personal trainer your wife was seeing in 2011. Travis Bennett. I remembered him. Vanessa had insisted on getting in shape after we got married. Personal training sessions 3 times a week. I paid for every single one. Claire's biological father is most likely Julian Cross. He was your wife's boss at the marketing firm where she worked from 2013 to 2015. Julian Cross. The man who gave her a promotion. The man who took her on business trips. The man I invited into my house for a Christmas party. And Noah? I asked. Russell hesitated. This one is going to be difficult to hear. More difficult than finding out none of my children are mine? He looked down at the papers before answering. Noah's biological father appears to be your brother, Ryan Calloway. The world stopped. Ryan, my younger brother, my best man at the wedding, the uncle who came to every birthday party, every Christmas, every family gathering, the man I had trusted more than anyone except Vanessa herself. You're certain? The markers don't lie, Mr. Calloway. I'm sorry. I sat there for a long time. The diner noise faded. The coffee grew colder. The eggs congealed on the plate. 16 years, 3 children, hundreds of thousands of dollars spent on a family that was never mine. And Vanessa had the nerve to demand child support. What do I do now? I asked. Russell leaned back in the booth. That's up to you. You could sign those divorce papers and pay support for 17 years to children who aren't yours. Or you could walk into that courthouse with these documents and watch your wife's entire scheme collapse. She'll say I'm abandoning the kids. You'll say she committed paternity fraud. I looked up. In this state, he continued, that changes everything. It can void the support request and open the door to criminal review. Criminal charges. Against the woman I had loved for 16 years, the mother of children who called me dad. I need to think. You have 24 hours before the final hearing, he said. Think fast. Let me tell you how I got here. My name is Grant Calloway. I'm 46 years old. I work as a warehouse logistics supervisor at a distribution center in Bakersfield, California. I make about $67,000 a year, which isn't rich, but it isn't poor either. Enough to support a family, enough to provide. At least that's what I thought I was doing. I met Vanessa Vance in 2007 at a friend's barbecue. She was 29, beautiful, with the kind of smile that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. I was 31, recently promoted, finally feeling like I had my life together. We dated for 6 months, got engaged, and got married in 2008. Mason was born in 2011. I remember holding him in the delivery room, tears streaming down my face, thinking I was the luckiest man alive. My son, my firstborn, the beginning of my legacy. Except he wasn't my son. He was Travis Bennett's son, conceived during those personal training sessions I was paying for. Claire came in 2014, my little girl. She had Vanessa's dark hair and what I thought were my green eyes. Turns out the green eyes came from Julian Cross, the boss who was sleeping with my wife while I worked overtime to cover her maternity leave. And Noah, born in 2017, the baby of the family. The one I thought would seal our bond forever. Ryan's son, my brother's son. Conceived God knows when, in God knows what bed, while I trusted both of them completely. I raised those children, changed their diapers, walked the floor at 3 in the morning when they were sick, helped with homework, coached Little League, paid for braces, school supplies, summer camps, doctor visits, everything. I loved them, still loved them. That's the thing that makes this so complicated. They think I'm their father. They call me Dad. When Noah scraped his knee last summer, he came running to me. When Claire had her first heartbreak at school, she cried on my shoulder. When Mason needed advice about a girl he liked, he asked me. None of that was fake. None of that was a lie. My love for them was real. But Vanessa's love for me, that was the lie. Had been from the beginning. The divorce came out of nowhere. Or maybe it didn't. Maybe I just wasn't paying attention. In retrospect, there were signs. The late nights at work that didn't match her schedule. The new clothes I hadn't paid for. The way she seemed more interested in her phone than in me. I thought we were just in a rough patch. 16 years of marriage, 3 kids, life gets complicated. I suggested counseling. She said she didn't need it. Then in February of this year, she sat me down in the kitchen and told me she wanted out. I'm not happy, Grant. I haven't been happy for years. We can work on it, I said. I don't want to work on it. I want a divorce. She had a lawyer already. Damian Price, recommended by her sister. Everything was prepared. The division of assets, the custody arrangement, the child support calculations. She had been planning this for months, maybe years, and she wanted everything. The house we bought together in 2010, the retirement account I'd been building since my 20s, the cars, the savings, the investments, full custody of the children with me paying $4,100 a month until the youngest turned 18. Adrian told me to fight. She's asking for too much. We can negotiate this down. Split custody, reduced support, something reasonable. But I didn't fight. I agreed to everything. People thought I was giving up, thought I was too heartbroken to battle, thought I was being noble or stupid or both. The truth was different. I agreed to everything because I knew something was wrong, had known for years on some level. I didn't want to acknowledge the way Mason didn't look like me, the way Claire had medical traits that didn't run in my family, the way Noah had certain features that looked familiar, but not in the right way. I started paying attention, started noticing things, started remembering moments that hadn't made sense at the time. And then I hired Russell Kane. I didn't tell Vanessa, didn't tell anyone. Just quietly, methodically began to investigate the woman I had married. It took 9 months. 9 months of gathering evidence while pretending to be the defeated husband who wouldn't fight back. 9 months of letting her think she had won. And now, standing in that courtroom, I was about to show her exactly how wrong she was. Judge Cole read the DNA reports twice. His face remained neutral, professionally composed, but I could see something shifting behind his eyes. The same disgust I had felt in that diner, multiplied by whatever sense of justice had led him to the bench. "Mrs. Calloway," he said, voice like ice, "do you have any response to these documents?" Vanessa was standing now, gripping the edge of the table. Her carefully maintained composure had shattered. She looked at me, then at the judge, then at her lawyer, searching for something to hold on to. "Those tests are fake," she said. "He's lying. He's trying to avoid his responsibilities." "These tests were conducted by a certified laboratory," Judge Cole said, holding up the papers. "They show a 0% probability that Mr. Calloway is the biological father of any of the 3 minor children." "That's impossible," she said. "He's their father. He's been their father for—" "Mrs. Calloway," the judge cut in, "I'm going to ask you once more. Is there any possibility that these results are accurate?" The courtroom waited. I watched my wife, the woman I had loved for 16 years, the woman I had trusted with everything I had, the woman who had lied to me every single day of our marriage. Something broke in her expression. The fight went out of her eyes. I want to speak to my lawyer." "Your lawyer is standing right beside you." Damian Price looked like a man who had just realized he was standing in quicksand. "Your Honor," he said, "I need time to review these documents with my client. This is highly irregular." "What's irregular, counselor? Is your client seeking child support for 3 children who are apparently not fathered by the respondent?" Judge Cole set down the papers with deliberate care. "Mrs. Calloway, I am asking you directly. Are these children biologically related to Mr. Calloway?" Silence. Mrs. Calloway? No. The word came out as a whisper. No, they're not. The courtroom erupted, not loudly. There weren't many people there. But Adrian gasped. Damien swore under his breath. Someone in the gallery made a sound of shock. I just stood there, watching Vanessa finally tell the truth. They're not his, she continued, tears starting to fall. But he raised them. He's their father in every way that matters. They love him. He can't just abandon them because of... Because of what, Mrs. Calloway? Judge Cole asked sharply. Because you committed paternity fraud? Because you allowed multiple men to father children and then deceived your husband into believing they were his? I never meant for it to happen like this. How exactly did you mean for it to happen? She had no answer. The judge turned to me. His expression had shifted. Still professional, but with something beneath it now. Respect, maybe, or sympathy. Mr. Calloway, what relief are you seeking from this court? I had thought about this moment for months, rehearsed what I would say, planned exactly how I would destroy Vanessa the way she had destroyed my trust. But standing there, looking at her broken expression, thinking about Mason and Claire and Noah, I found that the words I had prepared didn't want to come out. Your Honor, I said slowly, I love those children. I still love them. What my wife did to me is unforgivable. But they're innocent. They didn't choose any of this. I understand. But legally? Legally, I'm requesting that any child support obligation be terminated. I am not their biological father. I should not be held financially responsible for children conceived through my wife's infidelity. Vanessa made a sound, half sob, half gasp. However, I continued, I would like to request visitation rights. Those children know me as their father. Ripping me completely out of their lives would hurt them more than they've already been hurt. Judge Cole studied me for a long moment. That is a remarkably measured response, Mr. Calloway, given the circumstances. I'm not interested in revenge, Your Honor. I just want to stop being lied to. And I want those kids to know that someone in their life actually loves them for who they are, not for what they can provide. The judge nodded slowly. Very well. Given the evidence of paternity fraud, I am setting aside the proposed divorce settlement in its entirety. This matter will be rescheduled for a full hearing where division of assets and custody arrangements can be properly determined. Then he looked at Vanessa. Mrs. Calloway, I strongly advise you to retain counsel experienced in cases involving fraud. The court will be referring this matter for review. Vanessa's face drained. Your Honor, please, she said. I can't go to jail. My children need me. You should have thought about that before deceiving the man who raised them. The gavel came down. I sat in my truck in the courthouse parking lot for an hour after it was over. Didn't move. Didn't turn on the engine. Just sat there. I had won, if you could call it that. Vanessa wasn't getting the house, wasn't getting my retirement, wasn't getting $836,000 in child support for children who weren't mine. But the children were still out there, still thinking I was their father, still waiting for someone to explain why their family had just exploded. My phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. This is Mason. Mom's crying and won't tell us what happened. Are you coming home? Home. The house I had been pushed out of 9 months ago. The house where 3 children who weren't mine were waiting for answers. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed back, I'll be there in an hour. We need to talk. The drive to the house felt like driving through a dream. Streets I knew by heart. Landmarks I had passed 1,000 times. All of it strange now. Distant. What was I going to tell them? How do you explain to a 13-year-old that you're not his father? How do you tell a 10-year-old girl that her existence was built on a lie? How do you look at a 7-year-old boy and say anything at all? I didn't have answers. I just had the truth. And the truth was going to hurt everyone. Vanessa's car was in the driveway when I arrived. I parked on the street, took a breath, and walked to the door. Mason opened it before I could knock. He was tall for 13, already nearly as tall as Vanessa, with dark hair and features I now recognized as belonging to Travis Bennett, a stranger's face on a boy I had raised. "Dad?" He looked relieved. "Mom's been in her room for an hour. She won't talk to us. Claire is scared. What's going on?" "Let's go inside, buddy. I need to talk to all of you." The living room looked the same as it had when I lived there. Same couch, same family photos on the wall, birthday parties and vacations and holiday mornings, evidence of a family that had never been what it appeared to be. Claire sat on the couch, clutching a pillow. Noah was beside her, too young to understand what was happening, but old enough to feel the fear in the room. "Dad!" Noah ran to me, wrapping his arms around my legs. "Are you coming back? Mom said you're not coming back." I knelt and hugged him. This little boy, who looked like my brother, who had Ryan's chin and Ryan's eyes and none of my DNA. I loved him anyway. That was the terrible truth. I loved all three of them despite everything. "We need to have a family meeting," I said softly. "Can you guys sit on the couch with me?" They arranged themselves around me. Mason on one side, Claire on the other, Noah on my lap. Like we had done 100 times before, for movie nights and serious talks and ordinary family moments. "Is this about the divorce?" Claire asked quietly. "Are you and Mom still getting divorced?" "Yes, sweetheart. We're still getting divorced. But something else came up today. Something important I need to tell you." "What is it?" Mason asked. He was trying to be brave, trying to be the mature one, but I could see the fear underneath. I looked at their faces, these children I had raised, these innocent kids who were about to have their world shattered. "Do you know what DNA is?" "It's what makes us who we are," Mason said. "We learned about it in science class. It's like a code inside our bodies." "That's right. And sometimes adults do tests to check DNA to see how people are related to each other." Claire's eyes widened. "Did you do a test?" "I did. And I found out something that surprised me. Something that's going to be hard to understand." "Just tell us, Dad," Mason said. His voice was steady now. "Whatever it is, just tell us." I took a breath. "The DNA test showed that I'm not your biological father, any of you. Your mom had relationships with other men, and they are your biological fathers." Silence. Then Noah said, "I don't understand. You're our dad." "I am your dad," I said, my voice shaking. "I raised you. I love you. Nothing is going to change that. But biologically, we're not related." "That doesn't make sense," Claire whispered, already crying. "You're our dad. You've always been our dad. And I still am. Being a father isn't just about DNA. It's about being there. And I've been there for all of you, every day of your lives." Mason was quiet, processing. I could see the wheels turning in his head. "So Mom cheated on you," he said finally. "Multiple times, with different men." "Yes." "And she let you think we were your kids?" "Yes." "For 16 years?" "Yes." He stood up so quickly the cushions shifted beneath him, walked to the window, stood there with his back to us, shoulders rigid. "Mason," I said softly. "I'm okay," he said. "I just need a minute." Claire climbed into my side. Noah curled closer into me, both of them crying now. I held them tight. "Does this mean you don't love us anymore?" Claire whispered. "No, sweetheart. I will always love you. Always. DNA doesn't change that." "Then why did you tell us?" "Because you deserve the truth. Because lies are what got us into this mess. And I won't lie to you. Not ever." From upstairs, I heard a door open, footsteps on the stairs. Vanessa appeared in the doorway. She looked terrible. Mascara smeared, eyes swollen, the polished, composed image gone. This was the real Vanessa, the one beneath the performance. "Grant," she said, voice hoarse. What are you telling them? The truth. Something you never managed to do. They're children. They don't need to know. They have a right to know who they are, who their fathers are. They have a right to the truth. You're going to destroy them. No, Vanessa. You destroyed them 16 years ago when you decided to build our family on lies. Mason turned from the window. His face looked older now. Mom, he said, is it true? All of it? Vanessa opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. It's complicated, Mason. There were circumstances you don't understand. Did you cheat on Dad? Yes or no? Yes or no, Mom? Her shoulders slumped. Yes. With how many men? Mason, please. How many? 3. Over the years. Claire made a strangled sound. Noah looked from face to face, terrified. And you let Dad think we were his the whole time? Vanessa started crying again. I loved him. I loved all of you. I was scared. Scared of what? Mason snapped. Telling the truth? Do you know how much Dad sacrificed for us? He worked double shifts. He missed things. He gave up everything for this family. I know. And it wasn't even his family. Mason, I said sharply, standing. That's enough. No, it's not enough. She lied to you for 16 years. She lied to all of us. I know, I said, but yelling won't change any of it. I walked over to him. This boy, my son in every way except blood. I'm angry too, I said quietly. I have every right to be angry. But anger is like fire. It burns hot and fast, and it burns the person holding it most of all. He stared at me. Then suddenly he was hugging me. This almost grown boy holding on to me like he was 6 years old again. I don't care about DNA, he said into my shoulder. You're my dad. You've always been my dad, and you always will be. We stood there for a long moment. Then Claire and Noah joined us, little arms wrapping around us. And Vanessa stood in the doorway, crying as she watched the family she had broken choose to stay together without her. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. The terms were nothing like what Vanessa had originally demanded. No house, which I didn't want anyway. Too many memories. Retirement split fairly. No child support, obviously, and shared custody. That was the part that surprised everyone, including me. I could have walked away. The children weren't mine. I had no legal obligation, no biological connection. Every lawyer in the country would have told me I was crazy to stay involved. But those kids didn't choose any of this. They didn't ask to be born from affairs. They didn't ask for a mother who lied and a father who wasn't their biological father. They just wanted to be loved. So I stayed. Every other weekend, alternating holidays, 2 weeks every summer. The same custody arrangement I would have had if they were biologically mine, because they were mine in every way that mattered. Vanessa was charged and eventually took a plea deal involving probation, community service, and mandatory counseling. She lost her job when the story got around, lost most of her friends too. Part of me felt satisfied by that, the petty, vindictive part that wanted her to suffer the way I had suffered. But mostly, I just felt tired. Tired of anger, tired of betrayal, tired of the whole ugly mess. I moved into a small apartment across town. 2 bedrooms so the kids could have their own space when they visited. Nothing fancy, but clean and safe and mine. The first night they stayed over, Mason helped me assemble bunk beds for Claire and Noah. We worked in silence for a while, trying to follow the impossible instructions, making mistakes and fixing them. Dad, he said finally. Yeah? I looked up Travis Bennett. My biological father. I stopped tightening a bolt. And? He's a personal trainer in San Diego, owns a gym, married, 2 kids, his actual kids. Yeah. Mason was quiet for a moment. Does he know about me? I don't know. Your mom might have told him. Or maybe not. Do you think I should contact him? I set down the wrench and looked at him. That's up to you, Mason. He's your biological father. You have a right to know him if you want to. But he's also a stranger who slept with your mom while she was married to me. That's complicated. Everything is complicated now. Yeah, I said. It is. He stared at the half-built bed frame. Do you think he'd want to know me? I thought about Travis Bennett, a man who had an affair with a married woman and either didn't know or didn't care that he had fathered a child. I think, I said carefully, that some men are fathers and some men are just biology. I can't tell you which one Travis Bennett is. But I can tell you that I'll be here no matter what. If you reach out and it goes well, great. If it doesn't, I'm still your dad. Mason nodded. I'm not ready yet, he said. Maybe someday, but not yet. That's okay. There's no timeline on this stuff. We went back to building the beds. The instructions were still impossible. We made more mistakes, but we finished eventually. Together. Almost 3 years have passed since that day in the courthouse. I'm 48 now, still working at the distribution center, though I got promoted last year. Still living in the same apartment, though I've made it more of a home. The kids are doing okay. Not great, not terrible. Okay. Mason is 15 now, struggling through high school and puberty like every other teenage boy. He decided not to contact Travis Bennett, said he might someday, but not now. I told him I'd support whatever he chose. Claire is 12, starting middle school this fall. She had the hardest time with everything. She went through a phase where she blamed herself, thought she was the reason the marriage fell apart. Therapy helped. Time helped more. Noah is 9, young enough that the divorce didn't shatter him the way it might have if he were older. He still calls me dad without hesitation. Still runs to me when he's hurt or scared. Ryan, my brother, moved out of state after everything came out. Couldn't face me. Couldn't face the family. I heard he's in Portland now, working for some tech company. I haven't spoken to him since I found out about Noah. Don't plan to. Some betrayals are too deep to forgive. Vanessa remarried last spring. Some guy she met during court-ordered counseling. Ironically, a recovering addict with his own history of bad decisions. I don't know if they're happy. I don't really care. What I care about is the kids, making sure they know they're loved, making sure they grow up understanding that family isn't about blood. It's about showing up. This past Father's Day, Mason gave me a card he made himself. Handwritten, not store-bought. On the front was a drawing of our family, stick figures with labels, Dad, Mason, Claire, Noah. Inside he had written, "Thank you for choosing to be our dad when you didn't have to. Thank you for staying when you had every reason to leave. Thank you for loving us even when the truth came out. You're not our father by blood, but you're our father by everything that actually matters. We love you. Happy Father's Day." I cried for 20 minutes after reading that. Not sad tears, not angry tears, just the kind that come when you realize all the pain was worth it, that what you lost was nothing compared to what you kept. Vanessa tried to take everything from me, the house, the money, my dignity, my identity as a father. In the end, she took nothing that mattered, because what mattered was sitting across the breakfast table from me right now, arguing about who got the last waffle. What mattered was walking through the door after work and hearing, "Dad's home." What mattered was being chosen, not by biology, not by law, but by love. If you're reading this and you're going through something similar, I want you to know a few things. First, the truth matters, even when it hurts, even when it destroys what you thought you had. Living a lie is worse than facing the pain of reality. Second, being a father or a mother isn't about DNA. It's about presence. It's about sacrifice. It's about choosing to love someone even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Third, you will survive this, whatever this is. The worst day of your life is still just a day. The sun will rise tomorrow and the day after that, and eventually the pain fades enough that you can breathe again. Vanessa called me a fool for not fighting the divorce. But I was fighting. Just not the way she expected. I was fighting for the truth, for justice, for my own self-respect. And I was fighting for 3 kids who needed at least one parent who wouldn't lie to them. I won that fight. Not in the courthouse, although that helped. I won it in the years after, in the slow, painful work of rebuilding trust, in the quiet moments with kids who chose to love me back. That's the real victory. Not the money I didn't have to pay, not the house I didn't lose, not even the satisfaction of watching Vanessa's scheme collapse. The real victory is Mason's card on my refrigerator, Claire's hug when she comes through the door, Noah's voice calling Dad across the soccer field. The real victory is this family, broken and rebuilt, imperfect, but real, mine.